Okay, I lied in my last video. We're going to be bouncing back and forth for a while on newer albums until I decide where I'm going to land at on what I'm going to cover. But sometimes inspiration just hits on a certain thing, and this week, at least for this video, I might be bumping out multiple videos a week until I either get burnt out or get a regular schedule on it, just whatever I'm feeling. Last night to this morning, I was listening to Dead End Hip Hop cover their most recent discussions and talking about like top 5 albums they've ever reviewed over the history of the channel. Which, shout out Dead End Hip Hop, I've been following since I was like 18, probably younger. Yeah, I'm turned 26 this year. So that inspired me to cover a newer hip hop album, which would be Schoolboy Q's Blue Lips. I think currently I agree with most of the members on the squad that Blank Face is still his best album, but I'm slowly getting on the fence and being won over with the album as the more I listen to it. I'm on like my 4th or 5th listen. I kind of skimmed through it this morning to get my thoughts together on it because I've heard it a good few times, but some of it's so long that it's 18 songs, so it is pretty long. But I want to get my thoughts together for this video. I'm going to do a quick tour of what's behind me for the set dressing here. Top here, Poppy and My Girl, Halsey Badlands, the Celeste soundtrack, Blood Orange, Negro Swan, Dorian Electra Fanfare, came out last year, signed. That one, Yves Tumor, Praise the Lord Who Chews But Does Not Swallow. It was a really long title, I'm trying to remember it all. Jasmine Bean, Worldwide Torture, Dorian Electra, Flamboyant, okay, and Marina, and Electra Heart. Okay, so on to the album review. Honestly, the ramp up for Blue Lips had me more excited for the album than after the album came out. And I think it's just because I'm gonna need another few months to sit on it. Schoolboy Q projects are always pretty dense. They have a lot to them, so like I don't want to write them off immediately on the first few listens. And I have listened to all his albums, at least they're on Spotify. So I've gone through the history of most of his the key parts of his discography. I think when Yearn 101 came out, I was the most hyped. I had heard the other main singles, but I was in the hospital listening to it, waiting for my fiance to recover, and I was like, damn, this one's so good. It's one of the best I've heard Schoolboy in a long time. I wasn't a big fan of Crash Talk. I listened to it while I was in college, but it obviously wasn't and still isn't my favorite album. I just think Chopsticks was a horrible option to pick as one of the lead singles. It's aged even more poorly as the more I go back to it and just start skipping songs. That and Bitch, I got that water, I got that water. I don't like the style of some of the songs on that album. Breaking it down by the notes I have for Blue Lips, we're just gonna start off with the first 3 tracks. I feel like really come in strong to lead off the album. We have Funny Guy, Pop featuring Nico Nasty, and Thank God For Me. Funny Guy is a slow start to ramp up, but a good intro. Pop is my favorite, at least first 3. I love Rico. I've followed Rico for years. I think my favorite's Anger Management. I still go back to it pretty regularly. That and Thank God I Have to Smack a Bitch Today. That song always gets me hyped. And then I really love the beat change up around the 40-second to 50-second mark, and Thank God For Me. That first beat was really good. I would have taken the whole song like that, but I love how it switched it up. And then at the end of the song, they bring both the styles of beats together just in a perfect combo to write out the song and kind of show you like, hey, we thought about this. We thought about how these 2 different beats would mesh, how they would mesh by the end of the song. Blue Slides, kind of a little bit of a teeter for me. I still like the song. It might grow on me more and revisit it. Currently, I'm not really impressed by it. And on my 4th or 5th listen, you would think I would have more to say about it, but I don't. Yearn, I've talked about. Yearn is so fast-paced, hard-hitting. I think, yeah, there are some standout lines, like quotables that kind of come from the song that still stick with me, where it's like, I ain't never met God, but I bet you know me, things like that. I love how the energy of the song starts and stops with the same pace. It just never really slows down enough to give you a breather. And the second Schoolboy stops talking, the beat picks it up and keeps that energy going. until he comes back in for the second half of the song. And then we have kind of a dead zone for me for the album. Lovebirds, Movie, and Cooties, all for me. Like, I don't really remember much about them, even though I just kind of heard them really going into my review for this. Cooties, out of these, I would say I like more than the other two. I like Land Skywalker's part in Lovebirds, but otherwise I don't have much to say about any of these three. Ohio, featuring Freddie Gibbs, is a highlight for me, mainly because of Freddie. I followed Freddie Gibbs off and on for years. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of his verse on Ye's album recently, but I do like Freddie's solo stuff most of the time. I mean, Pinata especially, some of his bigger albums especially. But I do just like Freddie Gibbs in general. Most of the stuff he's on, I think his flow is incredible. Next was probably one of my next big highlights from the first three songs in Urine, which was Foe featuring Absol. I think Absol killed it. I'm usually not a big Absol fan. I only had one Absol album I really liked. That was his solo material. And I couldn't even tell you the name of it off the top of my head, but I remember liking it for a while and kind of fell out of him. But I'm in the case of I think Absol features are better than Absol albums. Bless me. So, yes, I think Absol and Schoolboy on this song do a perfect fusion of this weird beat they have going on that's very hectic. Then we have another dead zone for me. We got First and Nunu. Another case where I think Nunu's a little better than First. Both are just a little unremarkable for me. Kind of sound like songs he's already done, which sometimes when an artist hits that patch, I'm like, well, if this sounds like something you've already done, but I like the other song better, I'll just go listen to that song. And I feel like First and Nunu both sound like things that came off of either Crash Talk or Blank Face, and that kind of style. The next two, Back in Love and Lost Times, I both like. I love, that's the thing about the production of this album, I'll say, before I continue. I love the production style of this album. That's what makes it might grow on me as it goes on. Just sometimes if I'm not looking at the track listing and not thinking about it indirectly, like just song by song, it just flow out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a pretty good flow to the album. Like it didn't, nothing was disrupting enough to make me want to skip the track listing. It's just I do obviously have favorites from revisiting it and picking out. Like I only want to listen to a few songs right now. I'm gonna pick these out and listen to in my car ride home. Germany 86 is okay. Not really much to say about this one either. And I feel like the last stretch of the album, the last three songs, I really, really like. I think it's a great way to like kind of ease us out of the album and kind of flow on out. Time Killers, Pig Feet featuring Childish Major. I love. I think I'm starting to slowly really get into Childish Major and probably look into his solo stuff soon. And I think Smile, while at first, in the first listen or two, I felt like it was a bit of an underwhelming outro. I like it now. It's a good way to like ease out of the album and kind of just like ease out on a mood where I'm like, okay, that kind of fits for what happened here. And we had a lot of, this was probably one of Schoolboy's highest energy albums, I feel like, especially with Yearn, kind of sets the tone to that. So I feel like this was a good way to like ease it out and kind of send the album out on a nice little note. That's over for my track listing notes. But my immediate notes on like this versus other discography albums would be that if I'm ranking anything, I would say Blank Face is first for me. Yeah, this is probably tied for second. Oxymoron third. And then I would say I'd put Crash Talk at fourth. I know he has at least one other album on Spotify. I can't remember the name of it. That kind of tells you how that would end up in the ranking. I just don't revisit it that much. Oxymoron was kind of my intro into Schoolboy. That and Blank Face. I think I heard them around the same time. But yeah, honestly, I'm still kind of really mixed thoughts about this album. I keep revisiting it when I hear people talk about it or when I see it come up in mentions on Twitter and things like that. But I'm not really astonished by it yet. It's not, I would say it's around my top 10 to 15 albums of the year right now, but that's only because we're still early in the year as well. So it might end up dropping, but I do like it. I mean, the general takeaway is that, like, if I'm going off a 5-star system, like ranking, like, half stars to, I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5. It's an enjoyable listen, and there are times I don't skip any songs on it and just let it ride all the way through, either on examining or just like give it another shot. But on days I'm getting picky, I'm kind of just siphoning through my highlights that I listed out and then kind of going on my merry way. I think one day maybe I'll do an in-depth investigation and talk about Blank Face and how I think it's not only Schoolboy's best album, but possibly one of the best rap albums I've heard. Next to, I think, if I had to list off the top of my head, probably Blank Face, Because of the Internet. I would throw LP by JPEG Mafia on there. Yeah, for going classicer albums, I would say I would throw 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang on there. Yeah, I may eventually get into it, but I still think Blank Face holds my favorite album by Schoolboy. Just the groove on it. I love that that old school groove, especially if you're in a car. Oh my god, I like. That's one thing about. Oh, before I let this album go, I will say, with the earbuds or headphones or on a speaker, Blue Lips is okay. Play it in the car. For Blank Face, Blue Lips, and Crash Talk, listening to it in a car is a different experience from listening to it like on headphones or a stereo. It just hits so much harder, especially if you have like a really nice bass car. I feel like that would definitely be a good fit. Yeah, that's kind of all the thoughts I have for Blue Lips today. I going into this, I thought I would have more kind of in-depth things to say, but there's good chunks of the album where like even on like multiple listens, it still hasn't really hit me yet, and I guess I might either need like a few more months with it, but I feel like it's already been a few weeks, and I was like, well, I can give some solid statements based on like all the listens I gave it already. So yeah, either in the coming days or next week, I am going to continue on the pattern I said of filming. So I'm going to be reviewing Jasmine Bean's second album. The first one's Worldwide Torture. The second one is, oh, let me think of the title. It just came out, so it's gonna take me a second. But I'm gonna review their sophomore album, and then from then on, I just finished listening to the rest of the Ariana Grande deluxe album, the most recent album she just came out with. So I'll review that, and then from then on, I'll probably poke at my my 2024 album notes of albums I've been listening to, and we'll probably start just picking from that and just going in order. Where I might do like break it up with like 1 or 2 albums of non-binary artists, other queer artists, or just really new stuff, and then break it up every in between or every 2 or 3 in between with a rap album. Because I do like rap and I followed rap for years. I grew up around a lot of people, including my parents and other friends who loved rap and hip hop and R&B. So it's been a big part of my life for years. So yeah, what kind of inspired interjecting this one today was, I'll say one more time for the end of the video, shout out Dead in Hip Hop. I've been following them for years. And if any of y'all ever see this, hope you have a great day. Yeah. I'll let you go for now. I'll probably just go ahead and upload this, and either at the end of this week or early next week, I'll have the Jasmine Bean upload up. Yeah. Bye.